Phil Kurz, contributing editor at TV Tech Magazine and tvtech.com. We're here today to talk about color, color management, HDR, and more. Joining me for this executive Q&A is Tim Walker, AJA Video Product Manager for Color Management Products and HDR Solutions. Tim, thanks for being here.
Thanks for having me, Phil.
Great, let's get started. So tell us a little bit about color. What is color management and why is it important?
Yeah, color management is a fairly complicated topic and goes into a lot of different aspects of video production, whether you're on set or film or doing live production. But color management is really the art of making sure color is represented accurately in all different stages of a production pipeline. And it involves monitor calibration, so people are looking at accurate colors on each of their displays. But then it also moves into the need to be able to convert between different color spaces and do that accurately as well. So color management is really a task or an application of ensuring color accuracy from capture through post-production and delivery to the home.
So we've heard some talk about look management as well. Is there a difference between color management and look management?
Yeah, it's an interesting nuance. And I think color management really encompasses the whole picture. And then look management is a bit of a nuance where there may be different types of productions where you might want to have a specific look to have a specific emotion evoked from the viewing audience, whether it's making them feel like you're in a dark and gloomy environment or making sure that the colors of green on the field are the exact colors that you want for your green on the field, or even as much as in that type of thing. So it may differ from production to production or brand to brand. But look management is really the art of creating a look for your content and then having that look be carried through in the proper places for people to make color decisions based on it. And that might be some types of color correction based on trying to match cameras or even time of day, for trying to manage when things are in bright sunlight versus, cloud cover. So look management is the subset of color management, which ensures color accuracy across different displays and processing devices. And then you've got the look management aspect on top of that, which is more of a creative aspect to creating an emotion for the viewing audience.
So today we exist in this time period where there's kind of a large installed base of standard dynamic range sets to view television on, but more HDR coming about every year. And I was just wondering the issues that creates for broadcasters in this transition period. Are you seeing broadcasters and producers capturing content in HDR even if it's going to be distributed in SDR?
Absolutely. There's a lot of content creators out there that would like to capture in the highest quality possible for archival purposes and repurposing down the road. So yeah, we've seen quite a move into capturing in HDR and then being able to distribute that in SDR and HDR to the HDR viewing audience. But there's several challenges that are there. You may have some SDR tools that are going to be contributing to the HDR content, and those need to go through a conversion process and in order to be mixed in a production switcher with the other native HDR signals. And so, you got to make sure you're taking care of that carefully using best practices for color management to do those conversions and color corrections. And then on the backside of it, you need to make sure you're doing the same thing for your distribution to the different deliverable formats. So, yeah, we're seeing more people capturing natively in HDR as the cameras and everything's progressing, but then still distributed in SDR for the larger viewing audience, but mostly capturing in that HDR for the archival purposes down the road. Now, there are still people that are capturing in SDR and would like to distribute in HDR. So, there's also that other side of things where they're doing the whole production in SDR, but then doing a conversion into HDR for some distribution.
So you mentioned archiving. What HDR standard are broadcasters and producers using to archive high dynamic range?
Yeah, that's an interesting question. And from my experience, the broadcasters today are capturing their native HDR content in HLG. So that's the typical
Right.
kind of single master, single stream production format we're seeing for live production, even though it may be distributed in PQ HDR for distribution.
So there is a growing trend among some doing live broadcast production to want cinema live sorts of cameras, digital cinema cameras integrated into the production. How does the AGA video color box enable those sorts of workflows?
Yeah, well, CineLive is an interesting application altogether. And it's kind of the notion, for those who don't know, of bringing cinematic techniques into live production workflows. And sometimes that means using cinematic cameras that have different lenses and different color correction capabilities, to the different styles of shots you may incorporate into your production with flyover drone shots and, big grander view type things. So, where Colorbox is helpful in live productions is its ability to take in different camera log outputs from these cameras and be able to convert them into the native single master workflow video color space of the production switcher. So that might be coming log off of a drone camera and being converted into HLG BT 2020 for use in a production. And it also offers the color correction capabilities within it to make sure it matches the other cameras that are being used in the production. And one important point to note with the Colorbox product is its ultra low latency capabilities. So, you know, ultra low latency is kind of a marketing term, but in our case for Colorbox, it means less than half of a video line of latency to process it. And we did that specifically because we know in live production, the downstream production switcher generally has plus or minus half of a line auto timers on their inputs. And we wanted to make sure we were able to hit that timing window. So Colorbox is designed for live production head to toe. In fact, we even recently introduced an open gear version of the Colorbox hardware to fit better into live production workflows where they want serviceability of the unit should something go wrong.
So can you tell us a little bit about the color box control interface?
Yeah, so Colorbox is a great web user interface that's available to the users. It's got a web browser. You just simply navigate to it and you get served up a rich web UI. But there's a lot of times, especially in live production, where they like to have different handles to adjust the color correctors within the color box. And in that case, our API for the color box is open and available to anybody. And several companies have integrated native control of it in their hardware panels, such as Scarhoy and CyanView. And so they have RCPs that are controlling the color box natively to give camera control operators a real consistent feeling for how they're correcting color in a live production application.
Well, I think that's all we have time for today. I want to thank Tim Walker for being here, and I want to thank you for watching. Be sure to visit tvtech.com to read my latest articles and those of my colleagues. Good luck and goodbye.